The Dead Forest by Cameron Oliver. Chapter 1. One dark day at school, an 11-year-old boy called Harry asked his friend Zach if he would like to walk to the sweet shop with him after school and get some sweets. Zach said, "Yes, but I have to be home by 5:30 because we're going on a night out." After school, they went to the sweet shop and bought some licorice. As they walked home, they chewed on their licorice and they paid no attention to how long they'd been or where they were going. They ended up tripping over a giant tree root. They looked up, and there they saw a giant forest with long, thin trees and a thick mist surrounding them. They both panicked and slapped themselves out of it. Zach asked, "Where are we?" Harry said, "I'm not sure, but it looks bad." They started to shout, "Help us, we're lost." But all they got back was a screech of a crow. Chapter 2. They looked round and could only see dark, thin trees. They carried on walking. With every step they took, sweat ran through their legs. They started to cry and leaned against a tree. Harry said, "We have to find a way to get out of this." Zach said, "Look around you. You think we can find a way to get out of that?" Harry said, "If we believe, we will have a better chance of getting out of here." They were just about to start walking again when it started to get dark. Zach said, "We have got to set camp for the night." So they settled next to a tree and built a den. It wasn't that big, but it would do for the night. All right. Not really, but it's not nothing. It got really dark and they somehow started a fire. They gave lots of courage to each other before slowly drifting off to sleep. In the night, there were all kinds of noises. There was howling, squawks, growls and roars. In the morning, they woke up with a drip landing on Harry's face. Zach said it was very uncomfortable in the night. Harry said, "You can say that again." They both forced themselves up and pushed themselves through the gloomy forest. Suddenly, there was an extremely loud roar that shook the forest and threw them on the floor. Harry said, "Is it me, or did that sound like it's right behind us?" They turned around with a gulp. Chapter 3. They both screamed. There in front of them was standing a giant, horrible creature with scars and horns that could stab you to death. It had sharp, rotting teeth and giant claws that it could use to climb up a giant wall of thick ice. The creature had big, round eyes that could see for miles and a big, scaly body with legs that could run for years and never get tired. They both saw the blood dripping from its teeth and a deer leg stuck to its teeth, so they knew it was bad. They ran for their lives across the misty dark forest with the monster an inch behind every second. They dived in a hole with a tunnel just big enough to fit themselves through. Harry said, "Quick, through here!" Zach said, "What?" But they had no time, so Harry pushed Zach through the hole and Harry dived in behind him. They didn't realise that the hole went down a big dip and they fell down. The hole got bigger and bigger and bigger until the hole was big enough to fit the monster through. Soon they were skydiving and they saw the bottom of the hole with a big, scaly dragon. They didn't know what to do. They had two problems: falling to death and getting eaten by the dragon. Both of them tried to grab bits of dirt and roots sticking out of the giant hole, but it just broke and they got grazes on their hands. They were so close to the bottom of the hole that they shut their eyes until they both landed and their eyes were still shut. Zach asked, "Is this heaven?" But they opened their eyes and they were in the dragon's hand. Chapter 4. They were both about to scream, but they couldn't say anything. They were frozen. Suddenly the dragon said, "I caught you before you hit the ground." They were confused, but they started to calm down. Zach said, "You can talk?" The dragon said, "Yes." Harry said, "Are you friendly?" The dragon said, "Yes. You're lucky I am." Then they realised the dragon was trapped in a chain with a lock. The dragon said, "A horrible monster trapped me, and I did protect the forest from the monster, but now he trapped me and he's eating everything." The dragon told them there is a monster up above that is horrible and the dragon has been trapped for a few years. Then the dragon told them that if they helped him, he would be able to get Zach and Harry out of here and we could get rid of the monster. They saw a key on a carved, shaped, dusty rock, and the dragon said, "That key can free me." Then the dragon said, please get the key and unlock my chain, and then I can get you out of here. Then they immediately grabbed the key. Then they unlocked the chain and took the dragon, they unlocked the chain lock and the dragon was free. The dragon swooped around and said, I haven't felt like this in weeks. Then the dragon said, quick, get on my back. Zack and Harry jumped on the dragon's back and the dragon said, hold on tight. The dragon swooped through a tunnel that they never saw because the dragon was blocking it completely. Harry and Zack held on as the dragon swooped upwards. Slowly they saw a light and suddenly in a flash they were out of the hole. They zoomed around the forest, dodging all the trees and landed on a free space with a dusty floor. They asked, how are we going to get rid of the monster? The dragon said, I don't know, but let's find it first. Then the dragon swooped up with them on the dragon's back. They saw some trees rustling next to a cliff. Quickly, the dragon and the boys flew down near the edge of the cliff. The monster heard the dragon's wings flap and walked towards the edge of the cliff. The monster came match to match with the dragon. Chapter 5. Suddenly, the monster said, right into my trap, with a low, creepy, gloomy voice. Then the dragon said, actually, you're right in my trap. They looked at each other. Then they looked at each other with scrunched up eyes. Flash! The monster charged right at the dragon. With a flash of lightning, the dragon flew up with Zack and Harry on the dragon's back. The monster stumbled over the cliff and it was very, very foggy, so they couldn't see the monster hit the ground, but they knew the monster must have died. They cheered and shouted, hooray! Finally, the dragon flew to a field next to Harry's house. Harry and Zack said, it was nice meeting you. Then the dragon smiled and said, quick, I'd better go before anyone sees me. They said goodbye and the dragon flew away. They discussed about what happened while walking and found themselves in the exact spot they were walking back from school on the exact day and time. It was like they went back in time and no one noticed that they were gone because they did go back in time. That next night, they were slowly falling asleep when they heard the same roar as the monster did. Could the monster still be alive after all? To be continued.